Hello, everyone, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jordan Mendoza, and this is the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast. So excited to be doing an episode live with a friend who I've been friends with for almost 2 decades. I'm so excited and honored to bring him up here in a second and have him share his story and journey. I know there's going to be a lot of people that watch this that are going to be inspired, that are going to want to go out there and blaze their own trail because his story is so inspirational and it's amazing. And at the end of this episode, I've got an exciting announcement to make as well. So, super excited to chat with you guys. I see you guys are coming in. William, what's going on? Randy, how are you? Great to see you guys tuning in live. So, without further ado, let me bring on my guest, and I'm going to actually have him tell you a little bit about who he is. His name is Brett Thomas. And Brett, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. So, if you can, just tell the audience a little bit about who you are and what you do today.
Well, my name is Brett Thomas. I own a web development firm in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've been doing this for about 21 years. And it's been a long time to grow to the stature where we are now. But I started a web design company when I didn't even know how to build websites, and and I learned on the way.
I love it. I love it. And so, as you know, my favorite part of the show is really taking that rewind. And so, I want to make sure we can give the audience context into your journey. So, if you can, there's going to be some people that know your story, where you grew up. But if you can share, where did you grow up? What kind of kid were you? What things did you get into? And we're talking, elementary, middle to high school years, and then we'll take it from there.
Oh wow, we're going all the way back. Well, I was born and raised in New Orleans up until about elementary school, early junior high. We moved to Slidell, Louisiana, which is right uh, uh, north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, about 25 minutes away from New Orleans. And I mean, what kind of kid was I? I was a badass little brat. I wasn't the model citizen, you could say, but I never failed. I always did pretty good in school, and I graduated from high school, went into the Army, and after my time in the Army, we did the GI Bill, and went to college. And in college, that's where things started to blossom.
Awesome,
Um,
man. Awesome. And I want to get into these stories. Guys, the story that he's going to share about, an idea that he thought of in college. I mean, to me, it's a genius idea, but I am a little biased. I've known Brett for a while, but I think it's a great idea. And honestly, it's the true tale of an entrepreneur. Right. So share with the audience, what you did in college and how it worked out. And also talk about what didn't work out.
College didn't work out. So all right. So I'm a freshman in college, and I needed to make some money. I mean, my first job was in college was Pizza Hut. I worked there for like a week, and I was like, "Adios, y'all! I ain't making food." Um, and my dream was I wanted to own an advertising company. I didn't really know how I was going to do that, but instead of a lot of people like to watch TV at night, or they listen to the music, or they go out and they party and go to clubs and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I did all that stuff sometimes, but there were times where I just sat down with a pen and paper and just said, "What am I going to do? How can I make the money that I want to make?" And I came up with this ingenious idea when I was home one weekend. I was at my mom's house, and some kid came and knocked on the door and sold my mom a $40 entertainment book. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's a big thick book full of coupons.
Yep.
And
I remember those.
and the light bulb went off. I was like, "Ooh, I got an idea." So I went all around Hammond, Louisiana, which is where Southeastern was. I went all around Hammond and tried to get people to sign up to let me put a coupon together. And I wasn't going to pay them, and they weren't going to pay me. I was going to make my money by selling the books, and they were going to get free advertising out of it. But nobody wanted to do it. I mean, who am I? I'm some young punk kid in college, and nobody really wanted to trust me except for one guy. So his name was Joe Garcia. He owned a daiquiri place, and um, I was over there drinking daiquiris one night, and he says, when are the books coming out? And I said, no, nah, we're not doing it. Nobody else wanted it. You were the only one. And he said, oh, come on, man. Just put a book together with nothing but daiquiris. Put like 50 buy one, get one free daiquiri coupons in this thing. So I said, that's a good idea. People would buy that. I mean, I know I'd buy that for $10, right? But then making a book like the entertainment book was kind of expensive. I didn't have that kind of money. I didn't have any money. I think I had $5 to my name at the time. So I went home with my tail between my legs and said, Dad, can I borrow some money? Can I borrow $500? And he reluctantly gave it to me. And so I went to a printing company and we printed up $500 to print 1,000 of these cards on thick card stock. It was really cheap, and I really couldn't put together something really professional. So it was like two colors ink. I couldn't perforate them. I couldn't really number them or anything. But I had to walk around with a pair of scissors and cut the card out for people. And it had 50 punches on it. Every time you buy a daiquiri, they punch it, you get another one free. And when you use all the 50 up, then you've just drank like $450 worth of free daiquiris. And that was the pitch. So I printed these things up, and I went around just every kid that I saw at college, every student. Hey, how's it going? Nothing serious or crazy. You like daiquiris? Check this out. For the next year, every time you go to Daiquiri Beach, you buy a daiquiri, give you one free. You take a date with you, your date drinks free all night. It's only $10. And it went better than I ever even imagined. I mean, we sold 1,000 cards in a little over 2 weeks. Me and my roommate and another guy. And so think about that. We brought in $10,000 in a little bit over 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
right there, I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's more money than these college professors make. What the hell are they going to teach me? I've already figured it out, right? So like a dumbass, I just, oh, hey, mom, dad, thanks for the loan, but I'm dropping out of college now. And I'm going to do this full time. And man, they were ticked. They
Yeah.
were.
What did they have to say about that? What was their
Oh,
initial reaction?
my dad didn't talk to me for like a year, but I gave him his money back. I was able to pay him back.
Yep.
And so his, the guy that had the daiquiri place, his dad owned a Mexican restaurant, and so he allowed me to do a buy one get one free card for Mexican food and some lunches and
Awesome.
dinners and stuff like that, some 2-for-1 margaritas, and we sold those. And then I noticed when I was out selling that there were other people out selling stuff too. And this company was called DS Max. And so I went to go work for them. I wanted to go see, how this other company was handling their business. So I went to go work for them. And that's where I learned a whole new level of of a system to work. Because before it was I would just wake up and just go do it. And there was no system. And so I was taught a system.
Yeah, and let's stop right there for a minute. So, how cool is it though? So you came up with this idea for to partner with what you thought was going to be a bunch of businesses, right? And
Right?
in hindsight, when you look back, you're probably like, "There's no way I could have probably fulfilled for all of these," but you did get a shot. And a lot of times in life, all it takes is that one shot, guys. All it takes when you're out there blazing your own trail, you just need one yes, and that one yes could absolutely change your life, right? It could take that idea that you had and actually have that come to fruition. So,
Right.
so I love what you said too. Is guys, you got to remember, there's a lot of humbleness here, right? So he saw this other company, that was doing similar things that he was doing, and he wanted to integrate himself in it so that he could see the way that they did it. Because, like you said, you'd wake up, you'd go out and get some sales, and you'd go back. So I want you to share with everyone, what are some impactful things that you learned in that company? And would you say that these foundational things really help mold you and shape the business that you're getting ready to build?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you some other things. So I was selling my cards for $10. And so when I went to go work for this company, DS Max, they were selling their products for $9.99, $10. It was perfect. perfect wheelhouse. And so we were selling all kind of stuff like leather bags, calculators, teddy bears. Around Christmas time, we had toys. We would sell 300 pieces of toys at $1.50 commission each, and we'd go out and just clean out whatever we could fit in our truck and sell them every day. And then after about a year or so, I got wind that there was DS Max had started another division called the advertising division or Granton Marketing. And they had an office. The nearest office was in Houston that was doing the advertising division. So I packed up my car and I drove to Houston, Texas. And I went to work with a guy named Carl Foss. Now, Carl, I don't think he liked me very much. But I don't know. I think maybe I was too independent, maybe a little too cocky. But after working with Carl for a while, when I first got there, I was shocked that these cars they were selling these cars for $20. And these guys were selling as many cars for $20 a day as I was selling $10 cars a day when I was doing it. So I learned a little bit of a lesson there. It's not about the price. It's about how you think about that price. It's about how you understand that price. So I'm selling these cards for Carl Foss's office in Houston, and I didn't really get along with that guy. I don't, like I said, he didn't like me very much. And I asked him, I said, where's the best office in the country, the most successful advertising office in the country? And he told me Kevin Siebert in Dallas, Texas. So right then and there, I packed up my car and I drove to Dallas. And kind of like with my tail between my legs, hey, I just drove all this way to come work with you. And Carl had already called him and told him to expect me. And so I was treated like the redheaded stepchild there for a while too. But then when Kevin saw my skill, he saw that I could sell and I was making money for him, and he invited me to come live with him, you know, and he put me underneath a guy named Will Boone. Will Boone was one of the leaders in the office. And so Will was about to build a big team and go open up another office in Oklahoma City. And Will and I were roommates for a while. I said, Will, I want to go with you. You go open Oklahoma City. I'm going with you. So I went and helped him open Oklahoma City. I helped him open Tulsa. And then after it was almost 5 years that I had been doing this, and I said, I'm done working for other people. I know what to do. I'm going to go start my own company. So I went back to New Orleans, and I started Rhino Promotional Marketing. And so now I knew how to do. I went out and I got big clients. I remember I signed up a location of Copeland's. I found there was a location of Copeland's that wasn't doing very well, and I went and signed that. I signed a couple of restaurants, and then my big break came when I signed up Celebration Station. So I went into Celebration Station. It was a Friday afternoon, like after school, and there was no kids in there. It was empty. And I thought the place was closed, in fact. And so I talked to the manager, and he puts me in contact with the vice president of Celebration Station. And he said, well, basically, what do we have to lose? We'll try it. So we printed up 1,000 cards. It had like a half price birthday party on it, free pizza, free 2-for-1 pizzas. It had 2-for-1 tokens. It was like $1,000 worth of free stuff at Celebration Station for $20. And so me and a couple of other guys that I got together, we went out and we sold these cards. And a little bit less than a month, we sold 1,000 of them. It was incredible.
And let me stop you right there, because I want to make sure that everyone that's watching this, hey, first off, let me give some shout outs here. William Young, Randy, Jody, Rona, Diana, Nancy. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're streaming right now on several platforms. So you guys, so he didn't really explain how he was going and getting these sales. So Brett was actually walking into businesses, just, your mom and pop's offices, actually knocking on people's houses to sell these things. And I don't know about, yeah,
Look,
yeah, give him the pitch.
No, you give him the pitch. All right, here's the pitch. So, for example, we had Papa John's Pizza, and it was a certificate that had $400 worth of 2-for-1 pizzas on it. So the pitch is, you just walk into a place or you knock on someone's door in that neighborhood or whatever, And the pitch is, hey, how's it going? Nothing serious or crazy. My name is Brett. I'm out here from Papa John's Pizza. We're doing a huge promotion in your market. We're looking for people who like pizza. Y'all eat pizza, right? Great. Check this out. And then you hand them the card. With the certificate for the next year, every time you order a pizza, we're going to give you another pizza free. Next week, you order a pizza, we'll give you another pizza free. For the next year, you're eating 2-for-1 pizzas. It's over $400 worth of free pizza. It's only $20 for the card. Now, we're only allowed to put out so many of them, and we're only out here for a couple of days. So how many do you need? I got like 4 left. And we would.
That's it. That's it. And
That's
that's it, guys. But here's the thing. When you're walking around, it's not easy, right? Like you're dealing with weather. You're dealing with people telling you that you can't sell there. So you are being attacked
so
at all in all ends of the spectrum from an adversity standpoint. But what do you have to do, Brett? What do you have to do to keep the ball rolling?
you have to be a rhinoceros. So one of the aspects of Rhino, and you see my little rhino here, and I got a rhino on my neck, and I got the Rhino logo, right? Um, a rhinoceros has 2.5-inch thick skin. And the rhino, you can't just shoot a rhino. You need a special gun to take down a rhino. You shoot at a rhino, and you could hit him point blank, and it will still continue to charge after you didn't even do anything. So as a business owner, you have to have the thick skin of a rhinoceros. And that's one of the aspects of the name of the company, Rhino Web Studios and Rhino Promotional Marketing, is you got to be a rhino. So we went out and we sold all of these celebration station cards. And about a month later, I get a call from the VP of Celebration Station. He was in Indiana. And he says, it worked out so great that we want to do it for all the celebration stations, all 11 locations around the country. And not knowing how I was going to do it, I agreed. I don't know, some people might call that dumb, and I don't. You know, I'm the kind of guy that says, yes, I'll do it, and then figure it out. The same way I started a web design company. I didn't know how to build websites. Somebody wanted a website. Yeah, pay me. I'll figure it out. Right. So and a lot of times that's how successful people are made. They don't shy away from things that they don't think that they're going to be good at. They say yes, and then they get good at it. Right.
Yep,
And I don't
100%.
know I don't know if you think that's good advice, but it worked. It works well for me. It did. It really worked well for me.
Yeah,
So
action trumps everything, right? If you take action, the worst thing that you could learn is it wasn't a good idea, right? You learn from your failure, right? When you fall on your face a little bit, you dust yourself up, and then you reiterate and you try it over again.
so I contacted this guy. Man, I wish I still had. I wish I was still in contact with him. But he was the vice president of Grant and Marketing, that company that I had just worked with for 5 years. And again, humbled myself, called the vice president. He was in Toronto, and his name was Ian Ringle. And Ian said, I'm going to give you a shot. I'm going to make you a lister for the New Orleans office, because New Orleans didn't have a lister at the time. The guy that was the lister for Atlanta was going to New Orleans every couple of weeks. And so he said, I'll make you the lister in New Orleans. In exchange, you give us the Celebration Station campaign, and we'll give you $2 a card. $2 a card times 11,000 cards. It's $22,000 I made right there. Bam. Didn't have to sell one of them.
Love
And
it.
then I started selling products in New Orleans. Fast forward 6 months later, I'm sitting in a beach chair in Biloxi. And I was with my new wife, and I get a call. In fact, I think she was my girlfriend at the time. We weren't even married yet. I get a phone call from George Graffy, who was he was somehow in charge at the time, and now he's the president of the company. But he was high up in the company, and he says, "Hey, so what are you doing, Brett? What are you working on right now?" I said, "I'm sitting in a beach chair and drinking a margarita on the beach in Biloxi." And he says, "It's Wednesday. What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be working." I said, "With all due respect, sir, I have 6 months of product already signed up, and the office is doing great." And he says, "I'll call you right back. Don't answer the phone when I call you. I'll call you right back." So he calls, and he verifies what I said, with with the owner, the guy that was running the New Orleans office. He called up the guy Chris and he says, do y'all have 6 months of? Yeah, Brett signed up 6 months of product already. So he calls me back and he goes, I can't see you just sitting on a beach when you have that kind of talent. I'm going to fly you around to all the offices that are struggling right now. So they flew me around. I mean, they flew me to Omaha, Lincoln, Nebraska. They flew me to Milwaukee. They flew me all over the place. Probably, I can't even think of all the damn cities they flew me to. And he flew me to Milwaukee, where I met a guy in Milwaukee who said he didn't want to work for Granton anymore. Now, this was probably a year after I had been a lister for Granton, and I was doing really, really well. And this is a very charismatic guy, and he's like, man, you move up here and sign product for me. And I told him no. And he called me up one day and he said, what if I took my whole crew and we moved to New Orleans? Would you sign product for us? And I'm like, man, if y'all did that, then I would do it. If y'all had that kind of faith in me that you're going to pack up a U-Haul and bring 6 or 7 guys down here and live in hotel rooms for me to, then sure, I'll do it. I didn't think he would. And he did. He did. He packed up everybody. He packed up his whole crew, and he moved to New Orleans. And so that's where Rhino Promotional Marketing kind of moved away from Granton. And at the time, I felt like I was making a bad move. I felt like I was making a bad decision. I'm like, man, this company's been good to me. Ian gave me a shot. Ian had retired at that point. That was like one of the last things he did was hire me, and then he retired. So it wasn't like I was betraying Ian anymore. So we did it. And that's where I met you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I can kind of tell part of this, right? So I'm actually part of this crew that's coming in and that's going out to sell these promotional marketing certificates. And I want to give context on how early into the journey this still was, because I remember you signed this restaurant, a local place. Is it still there? Is Carmine still? Is it
Karma is
still?
gone. Right.
It's gone, right? So
Gone.
this was a place that I'm sure got hit by the pandemic. I'm sure there's something around that, but this was a well known restaurant. But I remember we had these certificates, and I had to have this perforator with us because the perforation system didn't cut them out all the way, and we were literally perforating these coupons to hand these off when we made these sales. But one of the things that I quickly learned about Brett is that he wasn't afraid, and this is a guy that's a part owner in this business, but he was not afraid to actually take a guy like me who had some experience in the field under his wings and say, hey, let me show you how I do this, right? Let me show you how this is done. Let me show you how to increase your closing ratio. Let me show you how to walk into a mall and run out of all the things that you have, right? And so when him and I would go out together, that was literally our goal. Our goal was, how do we come back with nothing? How do we come back? And in the business, it was when you came back with nothing, you could drop your port, right? You could drop your portfolio, which meant that it signified that you're empty.
Ring the
Or
bell.
you could come and ring that bell, right? Which was a sign that we hit a goal, right? And I think a lot of those things, like thinking back to Granton, thinking back to Rhino, right? In those early days, yeah, you look back at some of those things and you're like, yeah, well, did this really move the needle? And honestly, we need that. Like as humans, we need that little spark. We need a little rah meeting, right? A little piece of inspiration that can help us get through our day. And although it may have been the caffeine or the Red Bulls, that it also attributed to keeping our energy up, I've got to say, and you could probably attest to this, that those meetings, those speeches, that storytelling, that definitely played a role in keeping people's attitudes up.
Oh yeah, yeah. In fact, I still do that. I still do it today. I got used to it. I love doing that. I make videos and post them on all the social media channels daily. Monday through Friday, and some of them are about web design. Some of them are about success and the journey, and some of them are about motivation and how to motivate yourself. So that's one of the things that I like out of life. I like to give back, and I think what I have to offer is experience. Um,
100%. Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm the same way. It's funny because a lot of the things that we've done over the years have been similar, right? Building businesses, continuing to motivate teams, motivate people, inspire people. And it's been really cool to see the growth of the web design side, right? Because you shared a little bit ago when you sold that first website design work, like you didn't really know what you were doing, and you kind of fumbled your way through. I remember you saying it took you quite a while to kind of become known for it. But I want you to share, what was the problem that you noticed in the marketplace when it came to web design, because I know that you noticed something that
Oh
kind of
yeah,
stuck out like a thorn. So what did you notice, and then what did you do to actually help fill that gap?
right. So I met a guy who was a web designer, and I was over at his house, and he was playing on his computer, building a website. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he's, "I'm a web designer." I said, "Oh, that's cool. So you're making a web? How long is this going to take you?" And he said, "About 4 days." And I said, "How much are you making?" "Oh, $2,500, so something like that. It was over $2,000." I'm like, "Wait a second, you're making like 2,000? How is that all profit?" And he said, "Yeah." And I was like, "So wait, what's the name of this program again?" So I took some notes. I figured out what he was using, and I got me a computer, and I got the software, and I started playing around with it. And I wasn't very good at it, so I wasn't able to charge a lot of money. But I think my first website was $500. I begged somebody, "Please let me build you a website. I'll do it for 500." Okay. And so it was more or less a hobby, for me. And it was after Katrina. So the whole Rhino promotional office. You married the administrator, and y'all moved away. The whole office kind of like fizzled after a while, and I started doing websites. Um, Although it was a hobby, I was making enough money to make a living. And then Hurricane Katrina came and shut everything down. And this is what I noticed: there were a lot of web designers in town that were selling websites to new businesses that were opening up and filling in the void of all the businesses that went out of business because of Katrina, Hurricane Katrina. And they all had the same problem. They were out of town, and none of them were accountable. I kept getting complaints. "Oh yeah, my web designer he never answers the phone. My web designer's in another state. My web designer, you know, made me a janky website, and he won't return my calls anymore." That kind of stuff. I noticed that there was an issue with trusting web designers, and it still is today, that web designers have a bad reputation for taking people's money and not doing what they promised. And so I decided right there, that's how I'm going to set myself apart. I'm going to offer the best customer service in the industry. If somebody calls me, if I got a client and they call me, even if I can't stand that guy, I'm going to answer the phone. Right. And today, that is the reason why I'm one of the most respected web designers in the New Orleans area and about to be in the country.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, and listen, for everyone that's watching and that's going to listen to this, maybe you catch the replay later. Uh, he didn't know what he was doing, right? But what did you do? You took action. You said, "All right, let me find out the tools. Let me get the software. Let me get the machine." And then all you needed was a shot. And as we've really, the audience has learned about your story and journey, you've always just needed a shot, right? Just give me a shot and let me go show you what I can do. And that's what I love about your character, is that you're like, listen, I may not be the best at this. I may not know exactly what I'm doing, but you better believe I'm going to figure out how to deliver. And so where did that resourcefulness come from? I don't know much about your parents, but I'd love to know, like, is there anyone in the family that's like that just, showed you that you don't need to back down. You need to go out and just put your head down and move forward. I'd love some context there.
My dad was a coach. My dad was a junior high school coach. And if you remember the old coaches from the 70s and 80s with the paddles, yeah, I was the one he paddled the most. Probably he beat the living crap out of me, and most of the time I deserved it. You know, so that's where my toughness, I guess, comes from. And then just being 5 years in the field, taking no's, taking 300 no's a day in clearance and 100 no's a day in advertising for 5 years, it builds some pretty thick skin. And I don't know. Maybe that's just the way I was born. Maybe it's something that I learned, you know. But even today, I see the next challenge, and I know we're going to get to that in a
100%.
second. But I haven't. I've got something really, really big on the horizon. Don't know how it's gonna. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I've never done this before, but I got the right people surrounding me. I'm getting good advice, and I'm going to make it happen. Come hell or high water. The only way you're going to
100%.
stop me is you're going to kill me.
Well, listen, and you've proven that you can do it over and over and over again. And folks, as we kind of fast forward to today, Brett now has a web design company that's been around for 21 years. Not to mention a team of people with accumulatively close to 100 years of experience, in web design. And so you mentioned having the right pieces in place, and I know that over the years we've stayed connected. We've stayed connected through text on Facebook, and really just kept up with each other's journey. And a couple weeks ago, we decided to kind of take the next step and actually get on a Zoom call, because you're in a growth place of your business,
Mm-hmm.
and you wanted to see, like, how could we partner on some things. So I'd love for you to just to kind of share what that update is on the business, what you're set out to do, and then we can talk about how I'm actually going to be able to play a part in this.
All right. So I wanted to open up other offices in different cities. All right. I knew that because web design and SEO, a lot of times people will hire me, and most of the time they'll hire me over a big national brand because I'm local. I'm in New Orleans. In fact, it didn't always start out that way, but Rhino Web Studio stands for right here in New Orleans. And I didn't even know that until 2 or 3 years into the company. Some lady said, "Oh, did you come up with right here in New Orleans?" And I was like, "Yeah, that was me." So I decided that in order for me to have a big company and to sell a lot of websites and to serve a lot of people and have a lot of clients, I had to be local in all of these cities. Now I can't clone myself. The technology's not here yet. So in order for me to do it, I had to figure out how I was going to get other people to open offices. And for the last 3 years, I've been trying to figure that out. So at first I was hiring people. I was doing the whole Granton DS Max thing where I was hiring salesmen, and then you train this guy, you build a team, and I'll let you go open up another office. And that never really worked out. And I was always good at building salespeople, but not business owners for some reason. So the thought just occurred to me one day: franchising. I'm going to franchise Rhino Web Studios. I have a lot to offer. I have a 21-year track record. We have 500 plus clients. We have uh, a system in place to sell. I mean, the phone just rings every day now because of my advertising systems and all of the stuff that we've set up with SEO. And so I'm going to franchise this, but I had to find somebody who was good at franchising. So again, I go online and I do my research, and I find several companies. And I told my wife and some of the people that I was working with, I'm like, I challenge you to go out and find all the negatives about these people. And one guy came back with no negatives, none, not one. And he had been building franchises for as long as I've been building websites. And his name is Chris Connor. He owns a company called Franchise Marketing Systems. This guy was instrumental in franchising Two Men in a Truck, Jimmy John's, European Wax Center, probably 100 other franchises over the last 20 years that you've heard of. And so I reached out to him and I told him my idea, and he said, "Man, this is unique. There's no other, maybe one other company that has done, web development and SEO franchising." And he took me on. He thought I had a really good idea, and he said, "Let's do it." So we're building franchises. We have already got people interested in Baton Rouge, the Gulf Coast, somebody possibly in Phoenix. Somebody reached out to me wanted to take some place in Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. So I'm really excited and hopeful for the future, because this is going to be really really big, probably bigger than I ever imagined it would be.
I love it. I love it, and I love the fact that you were like, "Hey, what's the next thing? What's the next challenge that I can step up to the plate and start swinging the bat, right?" And just from all your experience that there's going to be bumps in the road. So I love the fact that you've really started to put together a team, right? Because without a team, without people that are going to bat for you, that are helping fill the gaps that maybe you don't have the expertise in, right, that maybe can help integrate together with everyone, that's really truly how you can make the magic happen. So I'd love for you to just talk a little bit about the team that you have in place, and then let's also share with everyone the role that I'm actually going to be coming in and playing at Rhino.
Very good. So over the last 20 years, I've built a superstar team of web developers, social media experts, SEO experts, and we can handle anything. I have one lady that works for me. Her name is Melissa. She's probably the most talented web designer I've ever met in my life, and I wouldn't even call her a web designer, because you could tell her something that doesn't exist, and she can work her magic, and within a few weeks, she can develop something from scratch that does whatever you want it to do. She builds apps. I mean, she's been working with me now for going on 5 years, and she's absolutely uh, not only a pleasure to work with, but probably the most talented person. So respect her, and she's gonna become the the, the, the project management arm of the company. And then we have uh, another web designer named Ariel, who's going to be also doing project management on some of the little stuff, the smaller websites. And we have SEO guys. We have social media people. I mean, we got a huge team. So one of the things that I was lacking was I needed somebody to be like the marketing person who's going to market Rhino Web Studios nationwide to the masses, because I can't do everything. I'm going to be managing franchisees and teaching franchisees how to open their business and how to sell websites. So I can't do it all. And so I reached out to one of the most successful people that I knew in marketing and that really knew what they were doing, and somebody that I could trust. And that was Jordan. That was you, Jordan. And
Yeah, man.
I asked him to be my CMO, who's the
Yes.
chief
Yeah.
marketing officer. And he said, yes. I,
Absolutely. So yeah, so it's official now. I'm excited to announce this live that I am on board as the chief marketing officer at Rhino. I'm excited for what the future holds, because here's the thing. This means that we're going to have there's going to be so many opportunities for people to live that American dream. There's people out there that they want their own business, but maybe they just don't have all the foundations, or maybe they don't have the 500,000 to invest in a Subway, or into something like that. Well, we want to give people that opportunity to have an American dream and be backed by a brand that has a 21-year presence in the industry. And what a better way to do that than to find franchisees and having Brett at the helm and being able to vet the people, because he's looking for character. He's looking for people that are going to be hard workers, for people that are going to represent the brand well. So I'd love for you just to kind of talk about the vision. What are some goals that you've got in place? I know we've got some lofty goals, but I'm excited for the challenge, and being able to help is just such an honor.
So I'm looking for fearless, fearless individuals who want to blaze this trail with Jordan and I. We need people that have a good sales background, good customer service background, and not afraid to learn something new. Some of the people that we're going to be taking on as franchisees have no experience in web design, and we're going to teach them everything they need to know from scratch. And it's just these systems, these training systems in place. That's what we're working on right now. Um, the plan is to, for the first 6 months to a year, to have 4 locations open, and we're going to run those 4 locations. When we hit the 4, we're going to stop for a minute, and we're just going to run those 4. And any problems that we have during that beginning, we're going to work out. And then after that, after those problems are worked out, then we're going to do 10. We're going to sell 10 more. So then we'll have 14. And then we'll stop for a second. And then we'll sell we'll sell websites, and any scaling issues can be resolved there. So once we get to 14 offices and we got that thing working like a machine, then it's balls to the wall, and we're just going to sell as many franchises as we can and take care of our clients. We're going to have an army of customer support people. We want to be as big, if not bigger, than GoDaddy. But instead of domains, we're selling web development and SEO and digital marketing services.
I love it. I love it. And listen, if you are not dreaming so big that it scares you,
Well, it's
you're
scary,
not
man.
dreaming big enough. You're not dreaming big enough, right? And that's something that, one of my mentors, Bill Gray, passed away a couple months ago, and I remember going to these business meetings with the guy, and he would always say that to us. He's like, "Guys, I want you to dream so big that it scares you. If it doesn't scare you, go back to the drawing board, baby, and let's think of something bigger." And Brett, I'm honored that you reached out, that you asked me to be a part of this, and I'm so excited for what the future holds, because we want Rhino to be a household name. We want people, when they think web design, SEO, but not only that, when they think digital marketing overall, we want them to think Rhino. And so, we're excited about this partnership. It's been great having you on the show. I know a lot of people are going to be, inspired by your journey, the hustle, the grind, that Rhino tough skin that you developed over the years. So if you can, let everyone know. I know we've got the website scrolling down this entire episode, but let everyone know where to reach you. Is it email? Is it phone? Is it the website? Just share everyone, just some parting words and where they can find you.
Sure. So if you guys want to reach out to me and talk about web design, SEO, digital marketing, you want to talk about a franchise, you want to talk to me about the weather, I don't care. Give me a call. You can go to rhinopm.com. It's scrolling right there on the bottom of the screen. And our phone number's on there. Ask for Brett. You can fill out a contact form. You can fill out a quote request form. There's so many ways on there that you can reach out to us. But the first step is to go to rhinopm.com, rhinopm.com.
Awesome. And we're going to link that up. So this episode will also be published on the actual show next week. So we'll get that broadcasted, and we're going to make sure that all Brett's links are in the show notes. He's active on social media, like he mentioned earlier. And if you want to be inspired, he's putting out great content. He's telling stories. He's talking about failure. He's also giving you tips and free advice on what you can do to maybe tweak your website, tweak your SEO. He's kind of giving you a lot of things that are going to help you along your journey, especially as a business owner. Well, Brett, it's been my pleasure hosting you on the Blaze Your Own Trail podcast. I know we're going to blaze some awesome trails together. Everyone in the audience, I'm going to open it up just for a minute for those of you that are here live. If any of you guys have any questions for Brett, let me get the chat overlay on, and just feel free. We'll just leave this open, Brett, if you don't mind, just for a couple
Sure.
minutes. Just that way, if we get any questions to come up, feel free, guys. We would also love to know if you are tuning in, where you're tuning in from. So if you can drop that down below, and then also let us know if you're watching #Team Live or #Team Replay. I see some of you guys are watching live. Diana, great to see you. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for the congratulations. So, but if we don't have any questions, no worries. You guys are going to get Brett's info. It's going to be down in the show notes once we get the episode published. So, Brett, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on the show. I
Thanks
hope
for
you have
having
a great evening. And let me go ahead and close out. All right, guys, that was Brett Thomas. He is the president and he is the CEO of Rhino Web Studios, a guy I've known for just about 2 decades. And if you didn't catch it a little bit ago, I'm excited to announce that I'm officially the Chief Marketing Officer for Rhino. So anyone in my network, if your website needs tweaking, if maybe you need a refresh for 2022, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to put you in touch with Brett directly. He's definitely the expert in that area. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little while. Keep blazing your own trail. And until next time, have an amazing day.